got everyone down here, so that's great. So first off, we'll just give you a bit more information about ourselves. As I mentioned, I'm Miranda. I'm from a small town of Lindsay, Ontario. And I was in Elgin Hall my first year. I'm in the Faculty of Science doing a genetics program, but I'm also doing some biological anthropology on the side. And I'm in the Scholars Electives program, so if any of your students have been looking at that, feel free to ask me any questions that way.
My name is Silka. I'm from the not-so-small city of Waterloo. I lived in Medway-Sydenham Hall for the last 3 years, so if you have any questions about residence, I definitely have gone through most of it. I am in the Faculty of Science as well as Miranda, and I am studying my 4th year with an honor specialization in medical sciences. And so we're going to get started with our presentation. We do have a little bit of an outline here going on, so if you have any questions that are specific to any of these things, try to hold off until we do have that that topic covered. Otherwise, feel free to put up your hand at any time and we'll answer any questions you have.
And we do love questions, so definitely throw your hand up if you've got any questions there. All right, so we'll dive right in here. So we wanted to start off first by talking about the Student Success Center. So it's actually located in this building on this floor. It's room 210. So any of your students this afternoon are probably going to have their counseling appointment in there. So Student Success Center runs a lot of programming aimed at helping students transition into university. So we have the Scholars Electives program, the Western Scholars program, the WISE program. Also there's the Leadership and Mentorship program, also known as LAMP. This is a program that your first year students can sign up for. They may have signed up when they signed up for SAO, or they can go to the LAMP website and sign up that way. It's basically a program that will pair them with an upper year mentor from their faculty. And then throughout the year we run leadership programming, various faculty events and campus-wide events. It's a great way to get involved in leadership capacity and get to know people. Also we have the Society for Off-Campus Students. So if any of you have students that are planning on living off campus first year, SOCS is an excellent way for them to get involved. It pairs them again with an upper year mentor, and it's basically designed to give them all of the opportunities to get involved that you would normally have if you were living in residence. So they get the upper year mentor and access to the off-campus resource center in this building, which is just a room where off-campus students, if you know you have an hour between class and you don't have time to go home, go just chill there, hang out with some other off-campus students. They also run various programming throughout the year. And also, joining the Society for Off-Campus Students is an off-campus students ticket into O Week. So if you do have any off-campus students, make sure you tell them to sign up for SOCS. Anything else? All right, so I'll pass over to Silke.
So I'm just going to touch a little bit on Student Central. Student Central is where you would find the records of enrollment as well as all of the academic standing records. It is also home to where you can find OSAP pickup, there's photo ID replacement, there's transcripts, bursaries and work studies, exam schedules and grades. So it's definitely a great place for students to check in there every once in a while if they do have any questions regarding academic standing and enrollment. This is also where parents and students can go if you have to drop off RESP forms. Any kind of questions about OSAP, the financial aid office is also located here. Student Central is located in the Western Student Services building, which is just next door to here, and you would have passed it as you were walking up from the parking lot. It is located in room 1120, and if you're not entirely sure where that is and you do have any questions about Student Central, we can direct you in the right direction as well.
So yeah, as Silke mentioned, Student Central they've got all financial information in that too. So if you do have stuff to do with OSAP, RESPs, any of that you want to take care of today, you can go over there. But I also just want to mention, you'll see on your itinerary, we have a financial services presentation at noon today. So if you have any questions, we will have a financial services representative there, and she'll do a presentation, and then you can ask her any questions that you have as well. All right. So I'm sure probably a lot of you are concerned about the health facilities that we have on campus. And we have Student Health Services, which is actually a really great facility. It's located in the basement of this building in room 11. Basically, it's not a walk-in clinic, but we have a team of fully trained physicians. They're not residents or med school students or any misconceptions that way. They're fully trained physicians who just like working in a university environment. And basically what you can do is just call or stop by and book an appointment. As I said, it's not walk-in, but if you call early in the day, there's a very high likelihood that you can get an appointment for later that same day. You can also work it around your class schedule on that. And the good thing is you can request a same-gender physician if that's important to you. And also, you can either book the next physician available for an appointment, or if you find a particular physician that you develop a good rapport with, you can request that physician at any future visits. So you can get kind of that family doctor feel going as well, even through this system, which is really nice. Student Health Services also offers psychological services, as well as the Student Development Center, which Silke is going to talk about in a minute. So basically, Student Development Center will handle psychological things, whereas Student Health Services has more psychiatry. So anything to do with medication in a psychological manner, Student Health Services has all of the facilities for that as well.
Another great service that we have in terms of the student health services is that we actually have a pharmacy right here on campus. It is located in the basement of this building, not far from the student health services. So any student who has the University Student Council health plan is able to go and purchase their medication from the pharmacy here. And also, if you do plan to opt out of the medical health plan from the University Student Council, as long as you have coverage, you are able to pick up your medication from here as well with your other health plan. So that's a great service that we do provide here. Do we have any questions so far about anything that we have talked about? Yes, absolutely. So the question was about Western scholarships and entrance scholarships and bursaries. If you do have any questions about that kind of thing, Student Central is the place to go for that as well. They do have all of the enrollment records, so they would have information about scholarships as well there. Yes?
How do you opt out of that?
So the question was about how do you opt out of the student health services. In the next few months or so, probably around the end of August, the beginning of September, your student will receive an email, and in that email it will show them or give them the opportunity to opt out of it. And there is also a website that the student can visit. So it's through the University Student Council website, so it's usc.uwo.ca. And then this website will give them the opportunity to opt out of it as long as they have the group plan and the policy number for the health plan that they would be replacing it with.
You can't opt out before you pay it.
So the question was whether you could opt out before you pay for it. No, once you have your tuition paid for, so it's approximately $100 or so, you would opt out of it after you pay your tuition, and then you would receive a check back in probably about October, and it would be a check that would go out to your students, so hopefully you'll find that money back, but yes, you would only get the money back after you've paid for it already. Yes? So the question was whether OHIP does cover the physician visits here. OHIP does cover that as long as it is in your plan and they have opted out of the other plan. Then OHIP will cover it if they have the plan under your name that would work for it.
So what would give us an incentive to take your health plan? What's the easy that OHIP does?
The question was, what is the incentive for our health plan? It's an easy method for the students to have because if they don't have a card number, then they do have to bring a policy form in from parents with your specific information on it. The University Student Council Health Plan is a lot about, it's a lot more for international students and students from out of province who do not have OHIP coverage. So we do offer it to every student on campus, just in case they don't have the OHIP coverage. Okay.
Yeah, just also with the health plan, I just wanted to mention too, essentially the philosophy behind it is we don't want to have a student come in an emergency situation and they have no health coverage. So you're obviously more than welcome to opt out, and very many students do choose that opportunity, but we want to make sure that everyone is covered, and it is a relatively cheap coverage for 12 months. So we just want to basically make sure that everyone is covered when they're at the university. Okay, so the question is whether the USC health plan covers dental service. I believe it has emergency dental coverage as built into it, but in terms of checkups, cleanups, all of that, that's not covered. So you'd have to do that under your own personal health plan or just normal payments. Okay. Any other questions?
Okay. So I'm going to touch a little bit on the Student Development Center. So we have two different centers, really, the Student Success Center and the Student Development Center. A lot of people confuse them. I've been here for 4 years, and I don't think I still know the difference between them. So the Student Development Center, as Randa was saying, provides professionally trained counselors and other specialists in order to help students with their career decisions, personal decisions, as well as learning and social concerns. So they are trained in order to help students through some of their issues, whether it be academic or personal. The Student Development Center offers workshops and presentations, as well as online help and drop-in centers in order to help students with their academic work. So we have something called learning skills presentations. They are run throughout the year, and there are a number of different ones. So for example, we have a how to write a multiple choice exam seminar. We also have a how to write an essay exam seminar, how to take effective class notes, how to take textbook notes. So it is a great service for students to look into when they are here at Western, if they need a little bit of extra help with their academics, or if they think they're right on track and they just want to get that little bit of extra boost. The Student Development Center is great with that. More programs that the Student Development Center runs is there is an effective writing program. So if your student has any written work that they would like to have critiqued, the Student Development Center can definitely help them out with that. We also have First Nations services, international student services, psychological services, services for students with disabilities, and a number of volunteer services. So the Student Development Center is located in the Western Student Services building as well, and that is on the 4th floor, room 4100.
Great. All right, so I'll also just talk about our library system here for a minute. Western actually has a very amazing library system. We have about 9 million items in our collection, be it electronic or books or anything you can come up with, essentially. We also have 8 libraries on campus. They're organized in general by faculty or program, so we have professional libraries like the Law Library, as well as, for example, D.B. Weldon Library, which is right outside this building. Would be more arts and humanities and social science material in that building. We have Taylor Library that has more of the science and computer science, all of the that material. But students are obviously more than welcome to visit and study at any of the libraries on campus. Also, during exams, what's great is that most libraries will have extended hours, and Weldon Library, because it's the largest, actually has 24-hour, 7-day-a-week service. So if your student feels like studying at 4 in the morning for whatever reason, they have a great facility there. We have extra security put in place during those times. And the University Student Council, at no additional fee, actually runs late-night shuttle service. So it goes, basically the LTC, so the London Transit Commission bus service, will go till about midnight. And from that point till, I believe, 4:30 in the morning, the USC runs shuttles that'll go on campus to the residences as well as to the main places like downtown Masonville off campus. So if your student does want to study late and is concerned about getting at home at night, we have great safety facilities for that. Also with the libraries, your student, when they arrive, is going to be receiving a Western One card, which is their student ID card. It has very many important things on it, but one of the things it has is your library card, essentially. So there's no need to sign up for an additional library card. You can go to the library, swipe the card, and you can check out books. Also, you can check books out from any of our libraries on campus and return them to any other library on campus. And if by chance our 9 million points of collection don't have what you're looking for, we can requisition books from other universities throughout Ontario. So basically, anything that you need for that essay, you will find, which is a great service that we have. Any questions?
Okay, all right. So I'm going to touch briefly on the bookstore and the computer store. The bookstore is located downstairs in the University Community Center, as well as the computer store is located down there as well. At the bookstore, you will find all of the textbooks that your students require. There's also clothing and gifts in case they forget about Father's Day or Mother's Day. It's a great thing down there to have. The thing with the bookstore is that your student will be receiving a book list on their student services website later on in the summer. And it will actually take them directly to the bookstore website, and it will show them which books are necessary for classes. You do have the option to buy books over the summer for these classes. However, I don't recommend it personally, just because some of the books that are on the list don't actually get used by the students, and they just go to waste. So what a lot of students do is they go to at least the first class, and the professor will actually mention which books are necessary for the classes, and then you can buy the books in September when you actually know that you need them. The thing with the computer store is that we have a number of great student discounts with the computer store. One of the advantages of buying something like a laptop or disk programs from the computer store is that if there's any damage to the laptop at all, it can be brought directly back to the computer store, and it can be either fixed or it can be exchanged for something else if you have a warranty with it.
One note on the repairs at the computer store. The computer store is licensed to sell Apple or Mac products, but they're not actually an Apple facility. So again, the Apple rules are a little different from PC. So if you do have a Mac and you have a problem with that, you still have to go to an Apple facility to get it serviced, just to make a quick note there. Also, so we just have a quick link here, okits.ca actually. So we're not going to talk about orientation week a lot, just because your students are going to be getting information about that as we speak right now. But one thing we do want to encourage you to remind your students of is that they need to purchase their O-Week kit online. So this is basically a kit that includes, t-shirts, water bottles, random Western paraphernalia, but also a bracelet, which is the most important thing, because this bracelet is going to get them into all of the O-Week events. So basically they have to buy it online before they get here, print out the receipt, and bring it when they come, and that's how they're going to pick up their O-Kit. So you can take Visa or MasterCard online, and we just want you to encourage your students to buy them online before they get here. Okay, so any questions on anything we've talked about so far? Yeah? Yeah, they'll get them when they arrive, so at their residence or at their off-campus facility, they'll pick up their kits when they arrive here. And they are $76, I forgot to mention. Anything else? Okay, so we're just going to move on and talk about campus safety for a minute. So Western takes an extremely proactive approach to safety. We actually, as part of our training, had a presentation by a campus police officer, and I already knew the gist of what we had for safety, but we have, I think there's well over 60 various safety-related programs on campus. He showed us the sheet, and it's just a massive list. So basically, we're a pretty safe campus, and we're pretty proud of it. So there's just a few things we're going to mention that your student might want to take advantage of in terms of safety. First off, we have Western Foot Patrol. So this is a student volunteer program. So students will be able to call the Foot Patrol number, and they'll be sent a co-ed team that will walk them across campus at night. So Foot Patrol hours run until, from I believe 5 in the afternoon until 1 a.m. And if your student has, a late night class or they're studying late at the library or whatever, Foot Patrol will walk them across campus if they're at all uncomfortable with the situation. And I believe they'll walk a little bit off campus, and they've just gotten a vehicle, so they may have extended their range slightly this year as well, which is excellent. That's also something that your student can get involved in as a volunteer as well, if they're interested in becoming a Foot Patrol leader. And these individuals also go through a police check, so they're definitely good, safe people to be walking with. We also have the student
Do you have to have an appointment to like, you have to call ahead to say, I want someone to walk me at 11 o'clock?
No, so the question is whether you need an appointment to have Foot Patrol. If it's a busy time, it might not be a bad idea, but at the same time, in general, you just call the Foot Patrol number and they'll send someone over. So it's not an appointment-based thing. So even if you just find yourself in a situation you didn't plan on and you need a walk, you can definitely just call them up on the spot. All right. So we also have the Student Emergency Response Team, or CERT. This is, again, a group of student volunteers, and it's, again, something that your student can take part in if they like. These students are trained to the level of a first responder, so they have the first aid training of a firefighter, and they're one level under a paramedic. So it's a very rigorous training and application process that they go through to get this position, and they're basically the first line of response in emergency situations on campus. Hopefully your student never has to call them, but if they do, CERT knows campus extremely well, and generally before the ambulance even gets there, they have a 2-minute response time on average on campus. So if you call 911 from a campus phone or you call the CERT number, they'll be automatically alerted and they'll be at the scene ready to stabilize the patient. So it's a very good service that we have on campus. As I said, hopefully you never have to call them, but it's great to have them there as kind of a backup. And they are on call 24/7 during the year. There will always be a CERT member. So, yeah.
Okay, so I'm just going to touch a little bit about campus emergency phones and then campus police. So on campus, if you take a campus tour this afternoon, you will see that we have light poles. It's a giant black pole with a blue light at the top. We have 21 different poles on campus, and these are our emergency poles. There is an info button on the pole as well as an emergency button, so it's a big red button that you definitely can't miss if you're looking for it. These poles actually link the student, whoever presses the emergency button, directly to the campus police. And campus police can dispatch CERT, they can dispatch firefighters, they can dispatch anyone from there. So as long as the student presses that button, campus police knows exactly where they are, and they will always dispatch CERT, no matter what the consequence, or no matter what the situation is. If your student is walking on campus at night and feels a little bit insecure, feels that they're a little bit unsafe, they can definitely go to one of these 21 different poles on campus, and they can press the button for help. They are strategically placed, so you're always within distance of one of these poles on campus. It's a great program for sure. Now I'm just going to talk a little bit about campus police and the preparedness of the police stations. So there's a common misconception that campus police officers are rent-a-cops. That is absolutely not true. We do have the campus police. They are a division of the London Police, and they actually go through very rigorous training, and they are actually the ones who train the London Police for any emergencies that we do have on campus. So they are more knowledgeable about campus than any of the London Police are. We have Western holds 3 emergency preparedness days throughout the year, and this is where the campus police will actually train the London Police in emergency situations that may occur on campus. We do have an electronic communication system through Western's website, as well as an email that are used to keep the students and faculty and the staff informed in case of any kind of emergency. So as Randa mentioned, campus police can be dispatched by any campus phone by just pressing 911, and that takes the student directly to the campus police station. And if they call 911 from their cell phone, they will get the London Police, but the London Police will then direct them directly to the campus police as long as the student tells them that they are on campus. So the campus police is a great service that we have here on campus. Are there any questions about safety? Okay, so we're going to move on and talk a little bit about residents before we break for about 5 minutes. Okay.
All right. So I'm guessing a lot of you probably have students that are planning to live in residence. So one of the first things we want to comment on with our residences is that I know probably your student maybe has their heart set on one residence, or there's maybe another residence that they really don't want to be in. But honestly, all of our residences are amazing. Usually students, even if they get their last choice, once they're assigned, they're in there for maybe a day before they fall in love with their residence. So really, we just want to stress that all our residences are equally awesome, and your student will have a great time no matter where they are. So, first up, a couple updates about residence. We're actually building a new residence. It's going to be kind of a hybrid between traditional and suite style, and I think it's going to be completed 2012, 2013, not totally sure on the specifics there. But within the time that your student will be here, we'll have a new residence. That's because we've had a definite up in the number of first years coming in. And so London Hall actually used to be an upper year residence. And starting last year and now fully this year, it's completely a first year residence. So as soon as the new residence is built, London Hall is going to go back to an upper year residence, and the new building will become a first year residence. So if you do have students that are interested in living in residence in their upper years, once this new building is built, we will have more spaces available for upper year students in residence again. Also, each residence room will have an intercom phone. So if you're in a traditional style double room, each side of the room, so each student will have their own phone. And if you're in a suite style, then there will be a phone in the common room. Basically, everyone has their own extension. You can call any extension in the university. You can't dial out only because they've found in the past that most students, when making outward-going phone calls, will use their cell phone anyway. But you can call in. I know my parents always called me on my phone because they had a long-distance plan, so then neither of us got charged on our cell phones or anything, which was good. And if you are in suite style, as I mentioned, they provide a phone in the common room, but you do actually have phone jacks in each individual room, and if you bring your own phone, you can hook that up and have your own extension as well. So that's a great communication system we have.
Okay, so residence admissions is something we're going to talk about right now. So the building selection is done by a lottery system. So each student is assigned a different lottery number, and then it goes through the list as to, so for example, if your student is the first one to be picked on the list, yay, they will get their first choice. And that proceeds down the list. So if a student is further down the list, say they may not get their first choice, but they will get the choice of the residence that is the next on their list that is not full. So we do try to accommodate the students as much as possible with their selections. I'm just going to mention that Sauget Maitland Hall is the largest residence on campus, and a third of first-year students will live in Sauget Maitland, despite the fact that some students may have put that as their last choice. But as Randa said, you will learn to love any residence that you're in. So the selection process has been going on for the last little while, and students will actually get their building placements next week. It'll probably be towards the end of the week, but it should be next week for sure. We just want to stress that the payments are very strict for residents, so they do have to be paid by August 15th. If the payment is not given into housing by August 15th, your student will be taken out of the residence that they're in. They're no longer guaranteed their spot, and they will be put on a wait list instead. So definitely make sure that the payment is in by August 15th. I would like to stress that if you are doing any kind of banking, make sure that you do it a few days in advance, because online banking takes about 2 to 3 days. So if you are paying on the 14th of August, don't expect your payment to come through by the 15th, and then your student is in jeopardy of losing their spot. Yes, absolutely. So the question is whether you can pay directly when you find out what residence the student is in. You absolutely can do that. When the student has found their residence placement, they'll be getting an email that will tell them to go to a certain site, and then that site will tell them that congratulations, you got Elgin Hall, so you're in a single room, because Elgin Hall is suite style and has only single rooms. And then you can look on the Residence at Western website, and it will actually tell you how much you would have to pay, so you can definitely do that right away. And for example, if you're living in Medway Sydenham Hall and you're in a double room, you can do the exact same thing. There is a chart that says how much that it would cost for a double room. You do have to keep in mind that the meal plan is part of this payment as well, so you do have to know which meal plan that you have selected in order to pay it before you get the actual statement for that.
I just want to mention with that too, because we've had people asking, people that are going abroad, especially with tuition as well. You can do all of this through online banking, so if you are going abroad and have access to internet, you can easily do that online at whatever date. Okay, so the question, so the question is about if your student has selected a preferred roommate and how the lottery system works in that case. So your student is guaranteed their selected roommate as long as when they were filling out the residence questionnaire, they did it exactly the same, including, cleanliness preferences, floor selections, all of that. And in that case, basically, whichever of the two students is pulled out of the digital hat first, the other one is then brought up and they're selected together. So are you asking about paying the residence fees in installments and when you can start doing that?
Yeah, I thought there were installments from what I've read.
So I believe for your residence fees, you can either pay in one chunk or in 2 installments. Again, you can do that as soon as you like. However, because you, at this point, don't know what residence you're in or whether it's a single or double room or any of that, you don't actually know how much you need to pay. So once you've had, your student has been assigned their residence and their room and all that, you'll be able to see the fees, and then they will give you information on the installment process and all of that as well. And so as soon as you've had, the residence placement has been completed, then you'll be able to know what fees are due when. I would contact housing about that, yes. All right, so we're just gonna move on here. So in terms of roommate conflicts, we've already talked about how the roommate selection process works if you've requested a roommate. If not, then you're assigned your building, as we mentioned, next week, but you don't find out your room number or your roommate until you get here. But if there are any conflicts with roommates, first of all, as long as you filled out your residence placement questionnaire very accurately, the system is very good at pairing you with someone who's very like-minded to yourself. However, obviously, every once in a while there are going to be conflicts. And if that occurs, we have upper year students living on the floor, we have RAs and DONs, who are paid employees of the university that also live on the floor with your student. And these people are all trained in roommate mediation. So we have lots of people available that can help your student deal with those issues. If there is a conflict that just absolutely cannot be solved and it's an extreme situation, occasionally housing will intervene and move one of the students. But again, we won't actually do that until after Thanksgiving because we want to give that a settling in period to make sure that it's not just a slight conflict that can be solved. All right, and oh yeah.
When they assign a roommate, is someone from the same faculty?
So the question is whether the roommate is going to be from the same faculty. Not necessarily. There are certain themed floors, so say an engineering floor or a science floor. So if you end up on one of those, then it's probably likely that you're going to have a roommate of the same faculty. But in general, they go by personality and the residence questionnaire as opposed to by faculty. So I'm in science and I had an MIT roommate in first year, for example. So they don't exactly go by faculty. All right, so we just want to do. Oh, sorry. Yeah, the residence placement will assign you either a single or a double room, yes. All right,
So at this time, we're running a little bit behind schedule, so we're just gonna go through the rest of this, and then if you have any specific questions, we are having a break in about 5 minutes or so, and then you can come up and ask us questions then as well. So in terms of move-in day, whenever your student finds out which residence they've been placed in, they have received a residence handbook today, and in that is information about specific move-in days for the different buildings that they're in. So each building does have a different move-in day, and based on last name, you might have a different move-in day time as well, so make sure that you check that out in the residence handbook. We like to give you guys kind of a visual as to what we need when you guys move in, so we like to try to keep this process a little bit going very quickly and very smoothly. So in the past, we've had people bring horse trailers, we've had people bring 4 or 5 cars, we've had U-Haul vans. It's not necessary to bring that much stuff because it really won't fit in your student's room. We like to try to restrict you to one vehicle, and honestly, everything will fit in that one vehicle. Most students will be returning home in 6 weeks for Thanksgiving, so it's not necessary to bring winter coats, not necessary to bring skis. It usually doesn't snow in September, so we've been lucky in the past. We like to try to restrict you to one shopping cart, so we usually have a shopping cart in here, but if you can visualize one of those double-decker shopping carts, usually we like to think that you can fit everything you need for the first 6 weeks in there. If you are planning on bringing a mini fridge, then that would be obviously an extra because that will take up the entire cart. But just try to restrict yourself to one vehicle. It is not necessary to bring a grandfather clock. It's not necessary to bring a baby grand piano. We have had people try to move those in the past. They won't fit in your room. So on move-in day, you are actually not going to be lifting a finger. We have volunteers who move in all the stuff for you. They're called softs. So when you drive up, they will be the ones who will open your trunk. They will tag all of your students' belongings with tape and with the room number, and then all of the stuff will magically leave your car, and you will wonder where it all went. At this time, your student will be taken to registration, and you will be following them along with that as well. And we will give your student the key, the OE kit, as well as the Western One card at this point. And then you can go with your student to their room, and then magically all of the stuff will be there, and you will no longer be wondering where it has gone. One thing that we do like to mention is the move-in day. When you are moving all of your stuff into the residence, it is taken from your car. At this point, we do not like you to keep your cars in the traffic circles because we do like to keep people moving in and out of those areas as quickly as possible to keep the move-in day going very efficiently. So we do have designated parking areas that you will be taken to in order to park your car if you would like to join your student for registration and help them set up their room a little bit. Orientation week is a dry program, so we do ask that all of the belongings that your student has not be packed in alcohol boxes because the student volunteers who are carrying in the stuff do sign a contract before orientation week that they will not consume alcohol or be seen with any alcohol. And they are very strict with this because the London Free Press is very predominant on our campus during orientation week. And so we don't like to see the volunteers with alcohol-related boxes because it gives kind of a negative connotation to our orientation program. So just to give you a little bit of an idea, you are able to bring in mini fridges that do have alcohol insignia on them, but make sure that they're covered up or else you will have to carry it in yourself. Our volunteers will not be able to touch that for you. Are there any questions about move-in day at all? Yes?
If they lost keys,
Pardon me?
if they lost keys.
Okay, so the question was whether, what would happen in case a student lost their key. There is a front desk at every single residence that gives the students the opportunity to have a new key. So there is a $25 fee if they lost their key entirely, but if they locked their key in their room, for example, they can go and get a spare key from the front desk, and as long as they bring back the key that they've forgotten within an hour, then there's no fee for it. Okay.
Just one other quick thing with moving day is we want to mention, please don't pack in garbage bags.
Yes.
Just occasionally mistakes happen. We don't want to throw in a bag of your stuff by accident. Also, this is a request to be mentioned by a past staff on our team. Mini fridges are already pretty heavy, so please don't pack stuff in the mini fridge. We had a member of our team carry up an entire mini fridge, get up there and realize someone had packed dumbbells inside of it, so we really prefer that you don't do that.
It happens.
All right, so if you have any other questions, we'll ask that you just come up and speak to us here. We're just going to give you a break, quarter or two?
4 minutes.
Okay, so about 4 minutes. So if you could, sorry, it's going to be a little short, but if you could just get up, stretch your legs, and be back here in about 4 minutes, that'd be great.